Hello everyone and welcome to Uncharted Parenting, a podcast brought to you by Encounter Youth. Parenting is one wild adventure. It's full of twists, turns and plenty of uncharted territory. But don't worry, you're not navigating it alone. We're here with you. And each episode here on the pod, we dive into some real conversations, expert insights from some amazing professionals from various fields, and honest stories to help you find your way in this parenting journey. I'm your host, Louis, the Education and Parent Coordinator at Encounter Youth. Before joining the team here, I enjoyed 9 years serving as a police officer in the South Australian Police, but most importantly, I'm the proud dad of 2 boys. Welcome to Uncharted Parenting because, let's be honest, no one really has a map for this journey. Let's dive in. Now, if you're the parent of a young person, I bet that at some point they've asked you about going to a party, or perhaps you're even the parent of a Year 12 student and they've already asked you about Schoolies Festival and heading down to Schoolies Festival. Maybe as a parent, you hear the word Schoolies and your immediate thought is, there's absolutely no way that my young person is heading down to Schoolies. Maybe you're nervous, maybe you're anxious, and those are totally normal feelings to have about it. So what we're going to do on today's episode is we're going to answer some of those burning questions you might have about what is Schoolies Festival and allowing your young person to head down there and enjoy themselves for that weekend. Some of you probably haven't even heard of Encounter Youth before either. So who are they? What is Schoolies Festival and how did it all come about? Well, that's where our guest today comes in. We're delighted to have with us on the podcast today the CEO of Encounter Youth, a man who knows all there is to know about the organisation, its origin story, and how Schoolies Festival and Encounter Youth have evolved over the years. We're also going to dive into why Schoolies Festival in SA is considered the safest school leaver celebration in the country. Nigel, thanks so much for being here today with us.
My pleasure, Louis. Thanks for having me.
It's okay. Nigel, before I get into speaking about Encounter Youth and Schoolies, you're a dad as well, is that right?
Yeah, I'm fortunate to be married to the beautiful Kate, and we have 2 beautiful children, a son, Archie, and a daughter, Lavinia.
Amazing. I imagine that keeps you pretty busy.
Oh, it's a full life, but yeah. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, it's probably pretty hard being a CEO, managing all that, and then also having family responsibilities at home as well.
Yeah, like everyone going through the busyness of life, your career tends to peak at the same time as you have the highest amount of debt and children at the highest needs. But Kate and I try and involve our kids into our lives as much as we can. So both of our children know what I do and we try and get them along to as many events and functions as we can, just so that they can connect to what we're doing and appreciate why, Dad's not always home or gets home late or something like that.
Yeah. It's a good way to do it, for sure. So you've been the CEO now of Encounter Youth for, I believe, over 15 years, is that right?
Yeah, it's just clicked over 16 years, actually. So it's a long time, probably more time than most people spend in any job, but especially as a CEO. But it's been a real privilege for me to spend this many years in such a fantastic organisation and charity that does such good work in the community and has such an impact.
Yeah, safe to say things have probably changed over that 16 years.
Yeah, of course. And it's been a pleasure to be part of that. But yeah, a lot of changes, both in technology and in people, and also trends with young people. It's always a pleasure to work with them and see how much they adapt and grow with the ever-changing world as well.
Nigel, we really want to touch on today how Encounter Youth actually started and also how Schoolies Festival began. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, as a charity, we're a bit of a hard organisation to get a hold on, but Encounter Youth was created over almost 26 years ago when this national phenomenon of young people getting to the end of their high schooling careers and wanting to celebrate this milestone. So they would, it's been over 40 years that this phenomenon occurred in Australia, and they would go to coastal regions around Australia and gather en masse and celebrate the end of schooling. So this happened, of course, in the Gold Coast, the eastern coast of New South Wales around Byron Bay, Western Australia on their coast near Dunsborough, and in South Australia it was in Victor Harbour, a tourist location, beautiful location, not that far from Adelaide, as we know, and they gathered there en masse, and that mass started to increase, and with it came the associated problems with inexperienced young people, 17 and 18, not experienced with celebration, not experienced with particularly the Australian culture of alcohol and celebration. And that attracted a whole lot of older people that wanted to take advantage of them. So really predatory behaviour that led to fights, sexual assault, public damage, a lot of problems. And it's fair to say that the region of the Fleurieu area was just overwhelmed with that. So at its peak, there was 14 to 15,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, in that space celebrating, but it was fair to say it was chaos. And so that was left to the local community to try and just deal with that. Obviously, pretty upsetting for the local residents, just a local police station and the local council that was pretty, all fair to say, under-resourced for this type of mass gathering. And so over a number of years, the community became aware that this wasn't going to go away. And they did something pretty phenomenal that was first occurred in Australia here in Victor Harbour, where the community came together with the council and realised that this wasn't going to go away. So instead of just trying to point the finger of blame at the young people and try and mitigate it in punitive ways, they came together and thought, look, how about we put on some sort of a structured event for them, a celebration for them, and try and help them to celebrate this milestone in a positive way. But the big question after they came up with that idea, and that happened in 1997, and you can track that through the local newspapers. The big question that they had was, well, who's going to do this? And they spent 2 years trying to work out who's going to fill this gap. And the call went out through the police to various organisations and particularly to the local churches. And it wasn't until 1999 that a pastor that was doing some youth engagement work through Flinders University and the evangelical students there, they answered that call. And they brought 40 volunteers in 1999 to carry out that idea, which even back then the community had coined as Schoolies Festival. And that's where it began, to try and give our young people a structured, supervised and safe celebration for this really important milestone. And over the last 26 years from that foundation, then County Youth was created, and we've been managing the state response to a Schoolies celebration here in the state on behalf of the state for those years.
Yeah, right. So I imagine it's probably in other states it might be run by the government, but that's definitely not something that's done here in SA. Yeah,
we're very unique here in South Australia. We still to this day, after 26 years, with this, the only state where a non-government entity manages the total state response to Schoolies management. And it's really a unique position for a charity to sit in, but one that we pioneered and really love. We've also consulted to Western Australia and to Queensland in their development, but we've also had a lot of strategies that have separated us from the mass media of negativity of just Schoolies. So that's why it was always coined not just Schoolies, but a structured Schoolies Festival. And that led over the years for us to be able to reduce the nights. We started working with the local community, the council and the local accommodation park owners, and started to reduce the nights that young people could get accommodation. So it started off being over a week, and you'll still hear people say, oh, Schoolies week. It's no longer a week and hasn't been for a long time in South Australia. To 5 nights, 4 nights, and eventually to what we've been running for well over 16, 17 years is a 3-night structured Schoolies Festival.
Yeah, right. So, because I guess other states, it is still recognised, isn't it, as Schoolies week, but here in SA is three nights, you said.
Yeah, that's right. So we're the shortest and most well-structured, and we know that we're also the safest Schoolies in Australia from all of the different safety strategies that we've worked for many years pioneering and developing with our government stakeholders. But it's in County Youth that sits to coordinate our government and community stakeholders year round to develop those and then implement those into the actual management of schoolies here in South Australia.
Yeah, right. It sounds like an amazing job, and over those years it probably has changed a lot. Not only the demographic of people coming down there, but also the way that young people celebrate has probably changed over those years. And from what I understand, there was another couple of programs that Encounter Youth now run that was sort of born off the back of that. Is that right?
Yeah, so fairly soon after Encounter Youth was founded, we got the invitation again to go into public or into schools, and the schools recognised there was a gap for the development of their young people into these increasing social environments. So they asked us if we could come and talk to young people about our experience, but also help them prepare better for not only schoolies, but becoming more social and the parties and things like that. And that quickly developed into that we realised the gap was alcohol and other drug education. And just going back to schoolies, the reason why schoolies happens is we often as adults want to look at these problems and just point the finger at our young people and say, just stop it, or they shouldn't do it. But in Australia, we have a celebration culture that is largely celebrating anything from almost opening an envelope to your birthday or an election win, the footy club win. And we love to get together with our mates and do that with copious amounts of alcohol. So our young people getting through school after 13 years, this is the single largest milestone they've ever achieved in one institution. And
worth celebrating then, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're looking to what do adults do,
and
how is it promoted, and that's what they do as well. So in the education system, it soon became aware to us in the schools that the gap was in alcohol and other drug education. So for the last 20 years, we've really pioneered that program here in South Australia. We're now the largest provider of alcohol and other drug education in South Australian secondary schools. And we do that holistically, where we provide that education to young people, the teachers in professional development, and also to parents, because we want it's always said, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a whole community to have an impact with our young people, and that's what we try and achieve.
It's a really good. I love that phrase. Takes a community to make that impact. And I understand, Nigel, that as part of Schoolies Festival, there is a whole group of volunteers that head down there. Is that right?
Yeah. So probably the biggest impact to our success here in South Australia is that incredible number of volunteers that we've always taken down to schoolies. Started off with 40 volunteers, and now we take over 400. And they're known affectionately as the Encounter Youth Green Team. A bit of an unusual name, but it's a very powerful brand. We used to give them a T-shirt every year to identify them. One year we gave them a green shirt. Probably was the cheapest one we could find. So they all wore a green shirt, and the young people, the school leavers, started calling them the Green Team. And we thought, wow, that's pretty good name, so we branded them that, and that's been their name ever since. But each year we take about 400 to 450. It's been as high as 600.
Wow.
And they're in every space they run. They not only run the festival, but they are in every space supporting our Year 12s across that weekend. One of the interesting facts is that from that sheer number of volunteers that we bring each year, we estimate it's approximately one volunteer per 10 school leavers. And so what we've calculated is that South Australian school leavers are the most supported in a school leaver celebration, just because of the sheer number of volunteers that we bring each year. But they really are the big difference of what we have here in South Australia.
Sounds like an amazing cause, an amazing thing to be a part of. And I'm sure that there's probably a way that you can go about reaching out about volunteering if you do want to. Is that just to reach out to someone at Encounter Youth? Or?
Yeah, of course. We have those links through our website on the Encounter Youth website. And they really are an impressive group of people that year in, year out makes such a significant difference for our young people.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like it. And look, we've heard a lot about Green Team volunteers just then, Nige, but for those listening who maybe are a parent of a young person that's perhaps heading down to Schoolies Festival or has done in the past, what is there other things that are done to make it safer, or other things that are put in place apart? I know you had said about the volunteers, obviously, that go down there, but is there other things that are done to make it safe?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, in County Youth, it's a little bit hard to get a hold of what we actually do. But as the lead agency for managing the Schoolies response here in the state, we actually work year-round coordinating with our emergency services and government agencies, and we have done for 26 years. And we run stakeholder meetings, and this is where we do all the advanced planning and preparation and the collaboration between all the different government agencies. It might sound a bit funny, but it's a non-government entity getting government to work together across departments. But that's why it works so well. And so year-round we review, but we also develop new strategies of safety and also modify previous year's strategies that go into each year. So some of those include, the sheer amount of police numbers that we have is based off our advocacy for young people to have them well supported. We have a full field hospital that runs down at the festival to offset the load on the local South Coast Hospital, and that's run by St John's Ambulance in partnership with SA Health and SA Ambulance. But that's been a lot of hard work and advocacy that County Youth has done throughout the years to get that there. But that means there's even more volunteers from those agencies supporting our young people there. We have things like it's a full dry zone that was pioneered in South Australia, but for the whole region. So young people can drink in private residence and in caravan parks and in licensed venues, but throughout the streets and surrounding areas they can't, and that's patrolled and mandated by the police. And that's a safety strategy to make sure that if they are drinking, they can do that in a place where there's supervision and support. And there's things like our bus service. We've worked very hard to lobby the government, and we've got a great partnership with the government to provide an extensive bus service so that young people don't have to drive over that weekend. They can get to and from the Schoolies Festival and their accommodation, and outside of the event during the day they can use that bus. And again, that helps them to remain safe on the roads. So any aspect of risk or safety, we try and work through that every single year and improve it each year. It's not perfect, but again, it's a very extensive operation. What we do know, and I've been to the other states, what we have here in South Australia is very unique for the Schoolies celebration here. They are the most supported school leavers in the state, and yes, I'm the person that heads up the response here, but I've been to the other states and I've seen what happens. They're pretty good, but they're nowhere near what we have here, because we, as a charity, we're not bound by the taxpayer opinion that sometimes they get it wrong. Well-meaning opinions, but we're not bounded by that, where we can provide over and above support through our incredible volunteers and all the work that we do year-round to ensure that these Year 12s can get through this milestone of celebration as safely as possible. My encouragement to parents is that be assured that a South Australian Year 12 choosing to go to Schoolies, look, they're going to probably celebrate this Schoolies milestone. If they do go to Victor Harbour, they are incredibly well resourced from all of our hard work and our collaboration with all the other agencies, but especially our volunteers. So they're in good hands. It doesn't mean that things can't go wrong, but they're going to be very close to great support throughout the whole time, and they can have a good... they've got a lot of peace of mind in our organisation because we've been doing it for over a quarter of a century now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have personally been at Schoolies as a schoolie, and also in my previous role as a police officer, and I can actually say that it is very well run. It is a great space down there for the young people to celebrate in. I never had to worry as a schoolie about anything. Just went down there, had a great time. So I believe as well, Nigel, last year there was another thing that was done to make it more inclusive as well, for people as well. Yeah,
each year we try and develop the celebration of the Schoolies Festival to make sure that it's meeting the needs of young people. And on our heart for a long time had been how do we make it inclusive for Year 12s that have disabilities or health or medical conditions that make it a little bit difficult to access public events? We've always looked out for them and tried to give them special experiences. We don't make that public, but last year we could make that public by introducing a sensory space.
Yep.
And it's something that we were the first in Australia to do, and we love doing that. But we created a sensory space for young people that might have some difficulties of needing a safe space to chill out and sort of reset, recharge, and then go back into the celebration. We kind of feel that if a young person's got through schooling with extra challenges, they have even more right to celebrate this milestone. So we'll be enhancing that this year and looking for ways that we can make it even more inclusive and broad for those young people.
Right, it sounds like there's lots of things that are done in not only in the lead up but down there as well to make it not only inclusive but safe for young people. Certainly, before we wrap up though, I believe that there's also a behind the scenes tour. Does that still run? Is that still running?
Yeah, we run a unique experience called the Behind the Scenes tour, and traditionally this is for community members, government officials, government ministers or opposition members, stakeholders, corporate business owners, pretty much anyone. And last year we actually had even parents on it from the current year and future years because we give them a unique experience. We live in an era, as we know, of very bombarded with communication and messages.
It's hard. As we're doing now.
We're adding to it. And it's hard to get the accurate truth in 8 second bits of information. So the media often will only portray one aspect. So we run a holistic behind the scenes tour, openly showing everyone how extensively supported our young people are. But all the things that I've talked about, we give an opportunity for people to see it hands-on. We show them every aspect of how we do things.
So could a parent of perhaps a year 11 or a year 12 student, they could jump on that behind the scenes tour?
Yeah, absolutely. We love we love especially engaging with parents because like us, we have a passion for supporting young people and supporting their young people. So yeah, if there's parents out there that would either of this year or future years that would like to come and actually test out everything that I'm saying, and come and see it for yourself, we'd love to show them. So they can get in contact with us through our website or through the contact information that we have on our website, or even through this podcast.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like an amazing initiative. So yeah, if you're the parent of a year 11 or year 12 student, definitely jump onto that and jump on that behind the scenes tour, see how it all works. See the nitty gritty behind what makes it the festival that it is and the celebration that it is for young people. But Nigel, I just want to thank you so much for joining us here today, for taking us through the history, how it started, how it's changed over the years, and what actually makes Schoolies Festival an amazing place to celebrate for a young person. So just make sure you jump on that invite to the behind the scenes tour. It's yourself that runs it, Nigel, is that right?
Yeah, it's I facilitate the whole tour, and it's a real privilege for me to do that, and I love it. Love showing everyone.
There you go. So if you want to ask Nigel the nitty gritty questions, definitely jump on the behind the scenes tour. So no, thanks so much. We really appreciate your time, Nigel.
No, my pleasure. And if there are parents there that have any concerns or specific questions, County Youth is always available to contact, phone, email, or through our social media channels to ask questions. We really do. It is a privilege for us to serve our young people in this state and beyond. And if we can help, parents like ourselves get through these challenging times, we'll do anything we can to support them.
Yeah, amazing. All right. Thanks so much, Nigel.
Thanks.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Uncharted Parenting. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. We really hope you enjoyed this episode. We'd love to hear from all of our listeners, so if you have any questions that you would like us to answer here on the podcast, we want to hear directly from you. Send those questions in to us and we will be answering them right here on the pod. Please send them in to inquiry@encounteryouth.com.au. That's inquiry@encounteryouth.com.au. Remember, wherever you listen to your podcast, give us a follow, subscribe, send us a review, send in those questions by the bucket load, and remember, there is no map for parenting. You enter uncharted waters every single day, but there is a way forward. You're doing an amazing job already, and we're with you on that journey. We have some more amazing episodes coming your way very soon, but until next time, goodbye for now.